Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast. It's Frankie. Hi, hello.
It's Hannah. I was not expecting that hello.
Oh, right. I should
Oh
do a
my
thing.
God, Jesus Christ. It's every week. It's not like a new occurrence.
Purpose?
Sometimes I do. I did not today. That was not purposeful today. I'm just kind of in my own world today. No offense.
Just fucking slow on the upkeep.
Chill.
You gonna introduce yourself or?
Oh, yeah. I'm Amanda.
Oh my God.
Shut up.
Every week.
Can you reintroduce yourself as Scooby Dumb for this episode?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, Scooby Doo's hillbilly cousin, Scooby Dumb.
Was that in an episode?
That's a canon. I'm not making fun of you. This is a canon character.
He was not in any of the episodes we watched today.
He was in the opening credits.
He is in the opening credits. Did you not watch any of the episodes, Amanda?
No, I told you I wasn't going to do that.
See, you should, because I have questions for people about the episodes, and now you cannot answer the question. And they're important questions, Amanda.
I've seen all the episodes. I can answer the question.
Yeah, Peanut Gallery can answer things.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Please welcome Peanut Gallery to the stage. She is our third host tonight because Amanda has been fired.
I
Permanent
said this
third host.
ahead of I said this ahead of time that I was not going to do a thing
Why were you not going to do a thing?
because I didn't want to do the thing.
Why
But
didn't
it's
you want
watching Scooby Doo. How is that a chore?
Okay, to be fair, I was busy this weekend. Peanut Gallery can back me up on this, correct, Mother?
Did you go see Mean Girls?
Absolutely not. We went to go see Cirque du Soleil Crystal in Harrisburg with my grandfather and my aunt. And my grandfather's many a girlfriend. This is number 3 that he has now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually like her.
I like her too. We talked about masturbation and how
That's Amanda on her best behavior.
that was.
That's first date, and she talks about masturbation.
Yeah. Pop said you guys have to be on your best behavior. And I said, okay. And then I proceeded to tell the story about how Kellogg's cereal was created because of Kellogg wanting to stop boys from masturbating.
That's just a
'Cause he
fun
thought that-
fact.
Yeah, because he thought the diet was needed to be plain. We talked about that. What else did we talk about? Oh, what do you call it? The dude who got naked in the Bass Pro Shop. He dove in and he's like, "I'll fuck your wife. I'll fuck her right in the A." And then he fell out of the thing. And when he was being handcuffed, by the way, still naked, he was like to the cops, "Get away from my asshole."
They ended up dragging him across the floor.
They dragged him on his stomach across the floor because he wouldn't get up. Also, I watched that video. I don't think they blurred anything out. It must have been real cold in that tank. Real cold.
We are
And he
5 minutes into this show.
And I talked about that a little bit with this woman, and she handled it quite well.
Yeah,
This
actually
is-
made jokes.
She
This
made
is your
great
best.
jokes.
This is your best behavior, correct? This is you.
Best behavior, yes.
Mhm.
My dad's first date, yes.
My pop's
God.
first date,
I don't
best behavior.
think you should ever meet like fancy people. Like royalty.
Like the
Yeah.
the queen.
royalty, stay away from them. Like really high
What-
up politicians.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Well, if it's royalty, they might get really offended. At least we're not back in the old days where they could just like have you beheaded. You know, if this is your best behavior, this is you trying to impress somebody with your best behavior.
Here's the thing. You know why I like this woman is because I think I impressed her.
See, this is why you're the final test, Amanda. That's how I refer to you. I refer to you as the
don't-
final test.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? You know why I'm referring you to you in that way?
Yeah. Because every time you go on a date and you want to introduce somebody to someone, I am the final test to see if they can handle this.
Yeah, you're the last friend. You're the last friend I'll introduce them to.
Why wouldn't you do it first, just to make sure that they can handle it?
Yeah.
Why invest your time and energy if they're not going to be able to handle her?
Yeah.
By
I would
having
split
Amanda
her.
first, that implies that the rest of his friends only get crazier.
Yeah.
That is not true. If you say this one's the one that's like the most nuttiest, coming out the gate.
Worst one.
This is it. It all gets better. Yeah.
Maybe I should revise it. Maybe I should revise my thinking.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Otherwise, you waste time and energy in a relationship that might not work out because they can't handle Amanda.
I have a lot to think about.
Lots to think about.
But I'll do that thinking later because we have something more important to discuss tonight.
All
It's
this
Scooby-
to say, we're talking about Scooby-Doo.
That was bad. Please don't ever do that again.
We have Scooby-Doo to talk about. It's our third Scooby-Doo episode,
Woo!
and we're talking about the Scooby-Doo Show. That's the name of it. Not very original or creative. That's what they went with, though.
Well, I had a hard time remembering what this iteration was called.
Yes, so did
Because I kept typing in the new Scooby-Doo show.
That's what I typed in too, and I'm like,
Okay,
why can't I find this?
yeah, Google's like, what the hell do you want?
Not as much information and like research about the Scooby-Doo show as I have had about other ones, but we do have some things about the show before we get into the two episodes we're going to talk about. The Scooby-Doo Show is not how the show originally even aired. That's not what they called it then. It's what we call it now. This was what we now call 40 episodes that ran for 3 seasons from 1976 to 1978 on ABC. So it changed stations from CBS to ABC.
Good for them.
16 of the episodes were produced as segments of the Scooby-Doo Dynamite Hour in 1976, where the first half would be a Scooby-Doo episode and the second half would be a Dynamite episode.
Dynamite was horrible.
Yeah, that's why they attached Scooby-Doo to the front of it.
Dynamite was probably the worst show, one of the worst cartoons in the 70s.
The next 8 episodes of the show were produced as segments of Scooby-Doo's All-Star Laugh Olympics, which we'll talk about that actual full show in a later episode. I think that's the next episode. It's
I
about
love the Laugh
Scooby-Doo's Laugh Olympics. You loved them.
I did love the Laugh Olympics.
You liked the Laugh Olympics. That sounds like a stupid name.
Well, guess what? You have one of the episodes, Amanda, so enjoy it.
Do I actually?
Yeah, you
Yes.
signed up for it. The
I
Japan
get to
episode.
sit back. I get to sit back and do
What?
nothing next time.
I signed up for the Japan episode. Are you sure, or did somebody sign me up for it? Because
I
I only
don't know.
remember. I only remember picking certain ones.
Yeah, well, you have to do some more ones than what you just want to do. All right. Your name's on the list, so you're doing it. And the final 16 episodes were produced in 1978. 9 of them running by themselves under the Scooby-Doo Where Are You name, which is why some people refer to this as season 3 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You. And the final 7 of the episodes ran as segments of Scooby's All-Stars.
All-Stars.
Just Scooby's All-Stars, yeah.
That sounds like he has some reality competition show.
Yeah, I know,
I-
right?
I was
He was
thinking-
RuPaul before RuPaul's Drag Race.
no, I was thinking more of like a sportsy thing. Who are the
It's-
All-Stars?
It's just Scooby. Well, in the All-Star Laugh Olympics, there are other Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters competing. They actually do like a little competition style thing. I do know that about the show, but I don't know what Scooby's All-Stars does. Despite the yearly changes in how they were broadcast, this 1976 to 1978 stretch of Scooby episodes at 3 seasons is the longest running format of the original show with the original gang before the addition of some people love him, some people think he's a scourge upon the universe. Yes, it's Scrappy-Doo. We're almost
I don't-
upon the introduction of Scrappy-Doo.
I hate Scrappy Doo.
I don't hate Scrappy. Why does
hate
everybody
Scrappy.
hate Scrappy? Scrappy's logical.
He's annoying.
You're annoying.
Thanks. I try.
When we get to the first season,
Scrappy is a
that
dog
includes
version of
Scrappy.
Amanda.
Did you say Scrappy is a dog version of Amanda?
Yes. Scrappy is Amanda as Scooby Doo.
Guys, I might quit. I might quit right now. Somebody better refute this bullshit right now.
See, here's the thing. The only Scrappy I remember is like later Scrappy when people really hated him, and then he becomes a villain in the first Scooby-Doo movie. in the first live action Scooby-Doo movie. Remember that, Scrappy?
Oh, we'll get to that, Scrappy.
We don't have
Yes.
to talk about that one.
But when we get to the first season of the Scooby-Doo Scrappy show, the voice that Scrappy has grates on my ears.
Yeah, it's not
It's
great.
it's horrible. And I hate that Scrappy purely for the voice.
And somebody just called me that.
I wasn't talking about the voice. I was talking about the attitude.
You
I
know,
feel like if anyone is Scrappy out of the three of us, it's me.
It's you?
Because I'm probably the first to throw hands.
you know,
That's fair.
Peanut Gallery, I hope that you stub your toe for the next 5 days in a row.
Wow. That rhymed a little bit too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wasn't intentional.
The episodes from all three seasons were rerun since 1980 under the title The Scooby-Doo Show, which is where we get what it's actually called now, even though none of them aired under this title. When television executive Fred Silverman moved from CBS to ABC in 1975, he took Scooby-Doo with him.
All right.
Get in the divorce.
Yeah, that's what he got in the divorce. And he debuted it as part of the Scooby-Doo Dynamut Hour in 1976. The hour-long show featured 16 new half-hour Scooby-Doo Where Are You format episodes, while the other half of the hour was filled by Dynamut Dog Wonder, a new Hanna-Barbera cartoon about a superhero named the Blue Falcon and his goofy mechanical canine sidekick, Dynamut Dog Wonder.
Stupidest freaking dog ever.
The Mystery Inc. gang would make guest appearances in 3 of the Dynamut Dog Wonder segments, including the first one that aired right after Hair Raising High Riser or High Rising Hair Raiser, whatever it's called. The first episode.
Rise Hair Raiser.
High Rise Hair Raiser also
We'll be talking about that one in a little bit.
had a
Apparently,
Dynamut
people
episode
can't.
with the gang. What's that, Amanda?
Nothing.
No, say it, please.
No.
No?
I said nothing.
Okay,
Yes,
all
you
right.
did. And now you sound passive aggressive.
You know what? I am. I was just called Scrappy Doo.
Oh my God, we're still on that. The show
I
was
hold
later.
grudges.
I know you do. I know. The show was later renamed to the Scooby-Doo Dynamut Show when ABC would add a rerun of the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You to the show in November 1976. In 1977, ABC had a programming block called Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics. The Scooby-Doo segment of this 2-hour block included 8 new episodes of Scooby-Doo, 2 of which featured Scooby-Dumb, and 1 of which included Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Dum's female cousin, Scooby-Dee.
I don't think you're making real words.
It's all real.
You want to hear something, Amanda, about
No.
Scooby-Dee?
No.
I want to hear something about Scooby-Dee.
There's some cousin incest. Because both Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Dumb really want to kiss Scooby-Dee the entire time.
I don't like that. I wish
I
I
don't
didn't
like
know
it
that
either.
now. I
Well,
wish
I
I
had to know
Why
that,
do you-
and now you all know that.
I
Why
wish
did
I
you tell me
hadn't
that?
I wish I hadn't said I wanted to hear that. I wish I could
Yeah.
take that back.
See what happens, Frankie?
I wish I had time travel powers.
See what happens?
I do see what happens. I'm sorry. I apologize.
In their defense, she is a really, really pretty Great Dane.
That's not a defense. That's not a defense.
Also, what makes a pretty Great Dane?
The pink collar and like beautiful eyelashes. She's
She's
pretty.
a movie star.
She does. She has like a Zsa Zsa Gabor kind of feel to her.
That is the feel they were going for. She is a movie star, Zsa Zsa Gabor. But just because like she's a pretty Great Dane doesn't mean her cousin should be attracted to her.
Well, I mean, they are stupid. I mean, one of them is called Scooby Dumb, basically.
That
Point
is his
blank.
name. After Scooby-Doo's All-Star Laugh Olympics, the block would become Scooby All-Stars and air reruns for the first 9 weeks of the 1978-79 season. By November, the early morning airing of Scooby-Doo Where Are You had been canceled, and the new 1978 episode began airing during the Scooby-Doo segment of Scooby's All-Stars. The principal voice cast for the Mystery Incorporated gang returned. So once again, we have Don Messick as Scooby-Doo, Casey Kasem as Shaggy, Frank Welker as Fred Jones, Heather North as Daphne Blake, and the addition of Dawes Butler as Scooby Dum. However, one person did not return. That would be Heather North. Or sorry, Nicole Jaffe. Heather North did return. Nicole Jaffe, who was the previous voice of Velma. She declined to come back as Velma as she had gotten married and retired from voice acting after the cancellation of the new Scooby-Doo movies. So Pat Stevens
Whoa. Doesn't she end up coming back? I'm pretty sure she comes back.
eventually, well, but the replacement is Pat Stevens, and she would become the voice of the character until the 1979 primetime special Scooby Goes Hollywood. Throughout this series, Shaggy and Scooby's cowardice was further emphasized, providing more comic relief in their dialogue and visual gags, with the duo playing minimized roles in the actual solving of any mysteries. Additionally, Velma's cynicism and sardonic quips were largely toned down in her dialogue, and Scooby Dum was introduced as Scooby's headstrong but dim-witted cousin, and featured as a supporting member of the gang for 4 of the episodes.
He was not a worthy addition.
One thing they did keep from the new Scooby-Doo movies is they travel a lot more around the world than the basic local adventures of the first incarnation of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? So the first season was released on DVD with the Dino-Mutts episodes that they originally aired with. The second season has not been released in a set, but some episodes have appeared on DVD. The third season was released on DVD as Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The complete third season, although only 9 of those episodes ever actually aired as Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? All 40 episodes are available for purchase on other websites as individual episodes or a season set, but the first 2 seasons are usually grouped together as the Scooby-Doo Show, while the third season is usually listed as Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Although in the way we watched them, that did not happen. They're actually listed. They're listed correctly as all being part of the Scooby-Doo Show. So we have 2 episodes that we're going to talk about today, both from the first season in 1976. We have High Rise Hair Raiser, which aired September 11th, 1976, and was the first new Scooby-Doo episode to air for 3 years. And then we will end with the final episode of that first season of the Scooby-Doo Show, The Spirits of 76, which aired on December 18th, 1976. So
what
with
made
that,
you choose these ones, Frankie?
well, I chose High Rise Hair Raiser because it's the first episode of the new show.
Fair. I got that one. I'm specifically talking about Spirits of 76.
I chose
an odd one.
It is an odd one. I chose Spirits of 76 because when I originally envisioned this project of Scooby-Doo, it was with another podcast. And well, Hannah asked, and I'm not going to lie to Hannah.
You should have.
I don't want to lie. I don't want to be a liar on the show.
I didn't lie about the kissing cousins in this series, so
Yeah. It was with another podcast.
No. You also should have lied about that.
You shouldn't have lied, Hannah. I didn't want to know it, but don't lie. Don't be a liar. Come on.
Be a liar.
But anyway, back then when I envisioned the project, Scooby-Doo was not on Tubi, and so I had a difficult time finding the second and third season of the show. And so I just thought I'll just do the final episode of the first season.
You know, if you would have talked to your friend, the friend who has Boomerang.
I didn't know you had Boomerang back then.
Just assume I have everything.
I don't ever assume.
You really should.
I should never assume. You know what they say about people who assume?
You know what they say about people who don't assume either? Idiots.
No, that's not what they say. No one says that.
I say that.
All right, one person says that.
Mom?
What?
Are you not listening to any of this?
I was kind of listening.
No, you weren't. All right.
I missed the last part. I heard the assume I have everything, and then I kind of zoned out after that.
Continue.
All right, well, Hannah, tell us all about High Rise Hair Raiser.
oh, I will. It's a good one.
Oh, before you do that, Hannah,
Mhm.
we have another new theme song.
Oh my God, yes. I talked about this in my notes.
What do you think about the new theme song?
I like
Well, here's my note. What do we all think about it? But since we all can't comment on it, Hannah, what do you think about it?
I really like the new theme song and opening credits. They're really fun, colorful. I enjoy the song and the animation. I'd say it's a 10 out of 10.
Tell
I
me,
like it.
tell me what. Okay, I've seen all of the Scooby-Doo theme songs. I used to watch like compilations of them.
Of
Just
course you
tell
did.
me what exactly shows up. Like, what is the beginning framework and what is like the first thing that's said? And I probably know and can comment, you dickhead.
Well, I didn't write that down specifically, dickhead.
I think the
wasn't.
dickhead was aimed at me.
Yeah, I wasn't dickheading you, Hannah.
Well, it felt like you were.
Hey, I do deserve the dickhead. That's all saying it. I deserve the dickhead, but
But
I have no defense actually.
yeah,
You
you
should
have
watch.
nothing.
You should have watched. I can't tell you what happens at the beginning or like the first word of it, but there's one point where Scooby and Shaggy are like dipping in and out of file cabinets,
Oh, okay, that's not helpful.
and
There is
Shaggy sings part of the song.
That is helpful. I know what you're talking about.
there is also an 80s D&D wizard villain.
There's a wizard in a red robe.
I know this one now.
All right. So what do you think about it, Hannah? You said 10 out of 10.
I say it's a 10 out of 10. I like it. It's a good cartoon opening theme, opening credits. They're bright and colorful to grab kids' attention.
Infinitely better than the new Scooby-Doo movies
Yes.
theme song.
Yes.
Amanda, what do you think? You know what we're talking about now.
I do. I agree with Hannah. I think it's well, I agree with you. I think it's better than the last that we talked about because oh boy, that was rough. But I don't think it's as good as like the original, the classic. So I will give it an 8 out of 10. But
An
I do
8 out of 10.
appreciate kind of the whimsy of this, if I'm remembering the one correctly, which I think I am.
It has some whimsy. I'd say it's whimsy.
Yeah.
I remember when we talked about Scooby-Doo and our relationship with Scooby-Doo in our first episode of this little thing. I mentioned that there was a videotape I had that was all like winter-themed episodes of Scooby-Doo.
I have that one too.
And one of them was from this series of Scooby-Doo. So I remember this theme song. I remembered it as soon as it hit. I was like, I know this.
Mhm.
And I fucking love it.
It is much better. So
It's so much better.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Everything about this is better than the new Scooby-Doo movies.
We're back to the tried and true.
It feels like Scooby-Doo. The last one just felt weird. And hour is too long for Scooby-Doo.
That's very true. There's only so much of a talking dog I can take.
The
And it's not
movies are
real.
different. The movies are different.
Well, and there's more to it. Like it's more thought out. With these episodes, you gotta like mill them out. Like really. Like they have to be kind of pushed out constantly.
Well, it's basically just one chase scene after another chase scene after another chase scene. Like, how many chase scenes can you do in a row?
Yeah, there's a lot of chasing in the hour-long episodes. Anyway, sorry, Hannah. The high-rise hair raiser.
Yes, the series premiere of the Scooby-Doo Show. Our show proper begins on an active construction site. So far, nothing is out of the ordinary. It's just men at work. And
Okay,
then
so nobody like isn't supposed to be there yet.
this is literally the first frame of the episode.
Okay, and everybody has hard hats on.
Yes,
Okay, because we got to be safe.
We'll remain safe for like about this segment. That's it.
Okay.
no, they wear hard hats when they're on the construction site pretty much throughout the episode.
Yeah, but like nothing else about this construction site is OSHA compliant.
Oh
Let
no,
me-
we'll get to some of that. Don't you
Let's-
worry.
Can I take a guess as to like a running gag, real quick,
Go for it, my dude.
or a gag? My guess is that you know those beams. They're going to like run on the beams and like the beams dip and go up and down and stuff. Kind of like the old Looney Tune cartoons.
Actually, no. The
There's a
beams
lot of
are
beam
all
running.
pretty straight. There's no dipping or
There's
bouncing
no
on them.
there's no beam running.
There's beam running.
But
Okay.
nothing that makes the beam look like it's rubber.
No, I meant like that they go up and down, like the crane is moving the beams up
Oh
and
no, there's
down.
not that.
Oh,
No.
that's not
Well,
as
there's
fun.
kind of one at the end, but we'll talk about that more later.
All right.
So you have who I believe to be the site's foreman say, hurry up, we're behind schedule. And there's 5 seconds of normalcy, and then you hear the creepy, evil, maniacal laugh, and every single man on the construction site stops. We focus in on a blue man, not a blue man from the hit group, the Blue Man Group.
I was just gonna make sure.
No. This man looks like the cross between a bad Vegas magician and a vampire. He's wearing this old-timey suit with a Regency era cravat. He's also wearing a red cape and has stark white hair. All the construction workers have stopped what they're doing, and they're now running away in fear. One of them yelling out, "It's the Spectre," as he flees. We now leave the site, and we go to Sam's Pizza, where the Scooby Gang is enjoying a meal. Scooby is waiting for his own pizza, as the pizza maker is hand tossing some dough. And we get a few jokes here as Scooby chases after the dough, which is flying away from the pizza maker to the gang's table. And you get my favorite joke of the show from Velma being, "Look, a flying pizza," because she was making fun of it being like a flying saucer. Instead, it's an UFP, an unidentified flying pizza.
Is that what she says?
She doesn't say that, but I very much implied that in my mind when I watched it.
That's a Hannah original right there. We just got blessed with a Hannah original.
Yes.
Hannah, this scene also had my favorite joke of the episode.
Ooh, what is it?
When Shaggy says that eating is his favorite indoor sport.
Ah, yes. We're starting to really play up the Scooby and Shaggy eat a lot. So we get a brief clip of the cook getting mad that Scooby ate the raw pizza dough when Velma brings up the crime of today's episode. There have been a string of break-ins recently.
Well,
Each time-
hold on. No. I feel like the chef should get mad because if one, eating raw anything isn't great, and I guarantee you that flour was not flour that you should be eating. So if Scooby gets sick, he can then be sued.
Well, Scooby has an iron stomach.
That's true. That's going to be
When have you
evidenced.
seen Scooby get sick from food?
And you're going to find out how
does-
iron his stomach is at the end of my episode. So,
But does he know that?
I think so. There have been a string of break-ins recently. Each time, a safe has been broken into, but the safes have not been destroyed or pried open. The culprit seemingly knows the combinations. Our boy Shaggy does not give a shit. He said, "This is not my problem." He says, "Our problem is that we are broke. We need a job."
have they ever had a job before?
I'm not in Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Aren't they hired as extras in the one film?
Maybe. I don't remember that episode. It just felt like they've never had jobs before. I thought this was their job. Are they just hobbyists?
Well, I wrote down in my notes that this line really supports the theory that Fred and Shaggy are draft dodgers.
Jesus Christ.
What is this? What does this mean?
They're dodging the draft.
This was in the 70s. It was Nom.
Oh, that's kind of good.
Aren't they high school students? They wouldn't be drafted.
Yeah, also good. We found that out in the sleepwalking episode.
Well, maybe by now they're like 18.
It's been a few years since we started watching. You're right.
So they
I don't
could be
think they
18.
age, though. I don't think in the cartoon they ever age.
They don't age until Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, at least.
And then they revert in age after that. Shaggy, again, does not give a shit. He points out a help wanted ad for the construction site we saw at the beginning of the episode.
They're going to go be construction workers?
Yeah, the ad says no experience necessary. And Fred and Shaggy get hired right away for the night shift.
Yeah, they're going to hire a dog?
Yeah,
They
Scooby gets hired too.
Yeah, I had some questions about that.
Me too.
Does he have a Does he pay taxes? Does he have a social security number? What's the pay structure for the dog?
I don't I don't know, but they give him a hard hat and tell him to get to work. Fred, Shaggy, Scooby get hired right away because
Fred? Why is Fred here?
It's to work too.
Yeah.
why
can't
wouldn't
just-
Fred be working the job?
Because Fred's like a model or something, isn't he?
What?
He
What?
goes on in the Scooby and Scrappy show to become a mystery novelist, but right now he's working construction.
He's just the biggest himbo in the world. I would never expect him to actually get a job.
I don't
Well,
think
they
he's
need
actually.
the money.
Yeah, he's
What-
actually the best at the job. By the way, he's like doing good work.
He gets the easiest job because he is shown painting a beam.
Yeah, to be fair, his job's pointless. I did write in my note, why is Fred painting metal beams that will be the interior of a building that no one will see?
Not only that, but even if it was the exterior, shit gets rusty. They better be like anti-rust paint, and even then, stuff still rusts.
They didn't know about rust back then, Amanda. That wasn't rust. Rust wasn't invented until 1990. So
That is incorrect because
no, it was
as you know,
invented. It was invented by William Rust in 1990.
that is not what happened.
That's
Because
the creation of Rust. Yeah,
that's not what happened. Do you know why it's not what happened?
but tell me why.
Because here in Pittsburgh, we have the U.S. Steel Building, and if you do any research about the U.S. Steel Building, you will know that it was purposely made so that the rust would turn that color.
You know why it's that color?
Why?
Aliens.
You.
They messed with it.
I hate you so much. You know what? You are the final test.
All right. For what? Sorry, we don't. Hannah, sorry. I'm really.
We're off the walls tonight.
You're hijacking her episode.
Yeah,
It's
I
not my
apologize.
episode.
That's true.
My
Well,
episode is next week.
This is a
you're
shared
part-
episode.
You're
This is
part
a
of the episode. He's hijacking it. He just wants to talk all the time.
I just got jokes to make, Amanda.
You suck.
All right, that's fair.
Also, stop triangulating our location.
People have
I'm
said
pl-
worse things about me. Pittsburgh's a big city. Come
Yeah,
on.
what are you talking about triangulating? Try and find us. One of us hasn't even introduced themselves by their real name.
Yeah, Amanda.
Try and find us.
Reveal your real name to the people. Come on.
Yeah.
Who hasn't revealed their real name?
Oh, I'm not going to reveal that now, would I?
My real name is really the Peanut Gallery.
That's true.
It's on my driver's license.
I hate
Yeah,
you.
that's true.
I hate you so much. I hate everybody.
That's fair. So Hannah, we've hired a dog to do construction.
We have hired Scooby-Doo, the dog himself, to do some construction. And the man who hires the boys tells them that he is so desperate for workers because everyone keeps quitting on him due to the specter. This is my first time ever watching this episode and this series in general. And when I was first watching this, I was like, this man is giving up information way too quickly without little to no prompting. In my head, this man was the villain. Like, I had him pegged. I saw him and said, that's a villain. He goes on to say that the land is haunted, not the construction site land is haunted because the house that stood in the spot before construction started was haunted. But don't worry, because they moved the house to a whole different location. And it's the land that's haunted. Shaggy.
That's how hauntings work.
Shaggy doesn't give a shit and says, I'm leaving. He doesn't want this job anymore.
I wouldn't either.
He's ready to walk away.
If
and
someone
it's-
told me where I worked was haunted, fuck it.
Fred and Velma have to prompt him to stay and work by telling him that they need the money. And Velma is also like, I want to solve this mystery. At this point, Fred tells Velma and Daphne to go to the library and look for clues about the construction site's history while he, Shaggy, and Scooby get to work. Because again, we hired a dog to work construction.
What does he do? Other than wear a hard hat, what does he do on the beams? Is he riveted? I mean, do you actually
He
see him
gets
doing
fuck
work?
he does work. If Shaggy asks for something, Scooby will go get it. I think Scooby is mainly Shaggy's support dog.
That's about it. Yeah.
So Shaggy and Scooby are specifically going to be working on the 19th and 20th floors, and apparently they're afraid of heights now because they get sick when they get to the top floor and they have to crawl their way around to their zone.
Well, Hannah, we actually have somebody here featured here who is known to be afraid of heights.
Who would that be?
You, Peanut Gallery.
I'm not afraid of heights. I'm fucking terrified of heights.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference.
When I was a kid, she wouldn't go up wooden steps that had little like openings in them.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't do that either.
You know why though?
Because they could fall apart and she could get hurt.
Because they were very sturdy.
Well, she could fall through them. She could slip through the backs of them.
Uh-huh.
Even though it's not physically possible, yes, that's why I was afraid.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't do them either.
I know that I physically couldn't do it, but it didn't matter. Because mentally in my head, I could slip through that crack.
I understand that fear.
No.
I have that fear, or I did.
You
So
thought you
I
were
get
going to
it,
dunk.
Peanut Gallery. Don't worry.
That's very sweet.
You thought you were going to come in here and dunk on the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like the Peanut Gallery dunks on me. It's only fair.
Okay. That's fair. You're right. I think we all dunk on each other.
You're right.
We all dunk on each other, but that's the hallmarks of a real friendship right there.
I'm still really offended by the whole Scrappy Doo comment.
Oh my god.
I called you Scrappy Doo. I actually just said it to get a rise out of you, and I knew I could get a rise out of you. And it's quite impressive how much of a rise I got out of you.
I'm very upset about it.
I really don't think that you're Scrappy Doo.
Not only that, you stole one of my Klondike bars.
Who paid for the Klondike bars?
What the
Doesn't
fuck
matter.
is that? What the fuck? Where did that come from?
She sat here.
Oh, one of my Klondike bars.
I can't wait to see how much of this makes it into the final cut.
You stole a Klondike bar.
Steal something I bought.
They were the double chocolate ones too.
Who cares about the flavor of the Klondike bar?
I care.
You know what I care about?
What?
What's going on with Scooby-Doo? Hannah, continue.
Well, we get a gag of Scooby and Shaggy working. Shaggy is using a rivet gun to put 1,000,000 rivets in the same exact spot. He never moves. They're just the same spot. But the gag isn't that. The gag is Scooby bouncing the entire way around the top floor, so he ends up on the other side of Shaggy. Shaggy doesn't notice this, and he asks Scooby to get him a towel because he's sweaty. A towel drops down from above him. Do y'all notice something here?
Yeah, it was the Phantom.
Yeah, because
other than it being the Phantom.
Oh.
Well, it's very nice of the Phantom to do that.
Yes, it's very kind of him.
I noticed that they were doing all their work at night without any proper lighting, so that's an OSHA violation.
That's an OSHA violation. You and OSHA, is that your job now?
No, I'm just saying that has to be an OSHA violation.
There's also no supervision.
OSHA wasn't quite as strict.
OSHA wasn't as strict in the 70s, Peanut Gallery says, because the Peanut Gallery was alive back then.
Well,
would you like to know what I picked up on?
What did you pick up on?
That's been grinding my gears.
Oh, I'm excited. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm excited. The last time I was excited about a fact you were going to give me, Hannah, you told me about dog incest, so...
You told us about incest. It's really hard to be excited about your facts after that.
So, Hannah, I'm tentatively excited. Please tell me.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever think of Scooby the same way now.
Well,
yeah, way to
Scooby
go.
and Shaggy are told they're working on the top floor, but Spectre is a floor above them, with more floors above him.
Well, those are ghost floors, Hannah. He's a ghost.
Well, also, if I'm gonna put a logical spin on this, the top floor might be the floor that they're just currently working on right now.
The highest floor that they have.
The highest floor that they're working on now. They have other floors above, but this is the one where shit needs to get done on. So
they're specifically told they're working the top floor.
Did I not just say what? Just because, yeah, the top floor that shit can get done at. Because I guarantee you, they're not putting up beams.
I will say the floor that the Spectre is standing on is like the same level of developed as the floor that they're working on.
Mhm.
All right. I was trying to be logical here.
No,
know.
the Spectre is full on an upper floor, yet they're Shaggy and Scooby are supposed to be on the top floor. So other than being nice, the Spectre doesn't do anything here. And Shaggy thinks nothing of the towel dropping from above when he realizes Scooby is in front of him. Shaggy then proceeds to ask Scooby for more rivets, probably because he put 1,000,000 rivets into the same spot.
He's out. Makes sense.
Yeah.
He's just making sure that all like that's an extra riveted thing. It's safer, maybe.
Sure. Why not?
He never coming down.
Yeah. Now
That one beam.
that one beam.
Scooby uses a pulley to bring up a bucket full of rivets. But in said bucket is the Spectre.
That's not a proper transport on a construction site.
No, it's not.
Is that
Okay,
another
wait a
OSHA violation?
That's gotta be an OSHA violation. I don't know specifically what violation, but it's gotta be.
I'm sorry, did you just ask how did he carry a Spectre in a bucket?
Yeah.
That wasn't what was said.
No, that is what was said.
He was using a pulley to lift a bucket up.
Oh, and the Spectre's butt was in the bucket, I'm guessing.
His feet were. He was riding up that way.
He was like standing in it.
That's how, mother.
How is a dog going to lift a full-grown human?
We don't know that's a human.
Why
It's
was a
Spectre.
dog hired to work a construction site?
Why does the dog talk? Why does the dog have a speech impediment?
Well, you can't expect him to speak perfect English. He is a dog.
Incorrect. Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's a cat. Different animal.
Cats can do anything. Dogs are a little bit slower.
Also, not even really a cat. It's a person who was turned into a cat.
Shut up.
A magical cat. A mat.
Frankie, quit
Yeah.
busting Amanda's balloons tonight.
Yeah, all of my balloons busted, popped. Even the helium ones.
That's sad. That means your house can't fly like an up.
Yeah, and helium's hard to get now.
Scooby freaks out about this and tells Shaggy, but Shaggy can't hear because he's still riveting rivets into the same spot.
There's a certain point that doesn't riveting into the same spot decrease the structural integrity instead of increase it.
You'd think it would
Probably, and
weaken
we're
it.
probably been past that by 100% at this point. Shaggy begins gaslighting Scooby, telling him there's nothing there but the rivet bucket, and then proceeds to ask for even more rivets. Same animation plays where Scooby pulls the Spectre up in the bucket, but this time Shaggy does see the Spectre and chaos ensues.
I laughed so hard I farted.
That's staying in the episode.
Oh yeah. She's gonna die. On can we leave that? Hey, Amanda, I have a question for you. This is just a legality question. Don't worry about it. But like, if you die in the middle of recording an episode, do you mind if we keep it in or?
If she dies, absolutely keep it in.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh. There are tears coming out of my eyes. And nobody will ever know why.
all right.
Why isn't that enough?
Yeah, we'll all know. All right, Hannah.
Poor
So,
Hannah. Hannah's
I
ready
really
to
just
kill
want to
me.
get through these notes. I really do.
I'll just mute myself.
No, don't mute yourself. That'd be horrible.
Hannah has to wake up for work tomorrow and wants to get through these goddamn notes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were being genuine or not.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm being genuine. We're an audio format, so if you mute yourself, that defeats the fucking purpose of the show, doesn't it?
As they're running, Shaggy manages to get tossed in the air, calling out for help from Scooby. Scooby pushes a bunch of sandbags together to cushion Shaggy's landing, but Shaggy manages to bounce off, leaving his hard hat behind. Thus, Scooby then believes Shaggy is dead until Shaggy taps Scooby on his shoulder. Chase scene part 2 occurs now, and the pair are separated. Scooby, thanks to some more cartoon logic, is sitting above the street in midair, thinking he's safe from the Spectre, until he realizes realizes he's sitting above the street in midair. He tries to walk back to the building, but he doesn't make it. He's safe though, because he and Shaggy end up near the spot Fred is working on. And once again, Fred's cushy job is getting to paint a beam.
Hey, your arm gets tired after painting. Take it from a painter. I actually painted while sleepwalking and my wrist hurt. True fact.
Still easier than riveting.
A hell of a lot easier than riveting. We cut to Velma and Daphne now. They've found something. Velma has discovered the history of the location. In 1820, a man by the name of Ebenezer Crabbe built this beautiful Victorian home.
I'm sorry, Ebenezer Crabbe.
Yes.
So they mixed two things to make this person sound cranky. Yeah, the most cranky, unpleasant person ever. Yeah, Ebenezer, like Ebenezer Scrooge, and Crabbe. Whenever I'm cranky, I get called Crabby.
Thank you for mansplaining that to us, Amanda.
Oh. But here's the thing. Ebenezer's neighbors thought he practiced witchcraft because he never seemed to grow older. Daphne, my girl Daphne, points out that he would have made a killing in the cosmetic industry. Like, please tell me what spells are used. Thank you very much.
You gotta love Daphne.
Velma goes on to say that Ebenezer vanished 60 years ago. So remember, we're in the 1970s, like 1971 or something like that. Ebenezer built his house in 1820, and then he vanished in the 1900s/1910s. And the urban legend continues. It goes on by saying that he reappears every 20 years. Every 20 years, he will show up at his house to make himself young again. It's a good urban legend.
It's okay. I've heard better.
The gang reunite and they swap stories. Velma proceeds to say she found the location of where the house was moved to and asks for volunteers to go with her. Shaggy and Scooby. I'm sorry?
Scooby snack time, right?
Actually,
there are
no,
no
Shaggy
Scooby snacks in any of the episodes.
Not
That's
in
a
the
little sad.
Yeah. Shaggy and Scooby actually volunteer to go with Velma because they don't want to be on the creepy construction site anymore.
That, you know what? That makes sense.
And Daphne and Fred stay behind, presumably to fuck.
All right, let's calm down. I feel like Daphne is smarter than that.
Okay, make out.
Better.
Trio pull up to the Victorian manor where Velma knocks on the door. An old lady answers. She looks exactly like Ebenezer, except for the fact that she is flesh-toned. Now this woman is iconic. She is who I want to be when I get old, because she is the scary lady who lives in the haunted house and children most likely run away in fear of her. This is what I want to be when I grow up. And you know what? My point is proven because Shaggy screams in fear because he thinks that this woman is Ebenezer. She's not, though, and she introduces herself as Ebenezer's great-great-great-granddaughter, Betty Crabbe. The trio are then invited in and are given permission to look around the beautiful Victorian manor. My girl then gets kind of weird and says Ebenezer comes back to her house every 20 years and he may show up at any moment. She also mentions that Ebenezer has a room upstairs and tells the trio his hobby was black magic. Her words, not mine.
Yeah, this woman sounds fucking dumb, Hannah. I hope you don't want to be this woman.
No, this is some iconic behavior.
This is not iconic, and if you become this woman, I'm gonna put you in a home.
Whoa, why? Hannah, I
Do
promise.
you support my dream, Frank?
Hannah, I promise that if
support your
you
dream, Hannah.
Thank you, Peanut
if
Gallery.
you became a black magic user, I wouldn't put you in a home.
Oh, I'm not doing the magic. I'm just saying my great-great-grandfather did black magic.
Oh, well then I'm on Amanda's side then.
Thank
But
you.
if I do start performing magic,
Then I'm
That's
on your
fine.
side. Then I'm
Okay,
on your side, yeah.
That's fine. I'm not against you doing any kind of black magic. You and me, we wanted to play with Ouija boards for a while. That's fine. Not against any of that. What I am against is you being dumb enough to think that your great, 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 whatever, has a room in his house, keeps coming back every so-and-so time or whatever. That's not, somebody's just playing you.
What? No, I don't think you understand. I'm playing other people by saying this.
Oh, is she the villain?
I don't know. You didn't watch the episode.
Ah, you didn't explain that.
Why would I give away who the villain is?
I don't know.
It's not the end yet.
You're the end. That's the first time I've done this.
I think so.
Get used to that, viewers.
So the trio make their way upstairs, and Shaggy finds a magic book. Do you want to guess what the magic book is titled, Amanda?
Out of magic.
It's called Black Magic. Spells and other neat, weird stuff.
You know what? If I saw that book,
Where can I get a copy?
I would
Where
buy
can
it.
I get a copy? I want that to be the front of a journal. Things get real interesting here because Shaggy recites a spell and ends up transforming himself and Scooby into goblins. This is the first time where the magic and supernatural are real in the realm of Scooby-Doo. Everything else so far has been men in masks. This is the first time magic's real.
That's true.
Shaggy and Scooby never notice that they've been transformed. Instead, they laugh at the funny spell, and Shaggy reads the spell to turn them back into normal before ever realizing anything has ever happened to them. Then Velma comes out of the closet. Yeah, she comes out of the closet only to say the closet is empty.
They were know what they were doing back then.
Velma does manage to find a clue in an old trunk. Before she can reveal it to the audience, Betty comes back in offering them tea while they wait for Ebenezer to come home. The trio don't take her up on the offer. Instead, they leave to go back to the construction site. Fred and Daphne have found nothing, so Velma retells what happened to them at the house. When she gets to the part about Betty, the man who hired Fred and Shaggy speaks up and says Betty has been dead for 60 years. Velma then finally reveals what she found. It's the receipt for a telescopic lens, a very expensive one at that, and it was made out to Ebenezer Crabbe just a few short months ago. Oh, by the way, Ebenezer is creeping around outside the window listening in, and the gang says that they're going to go to the location the lens was bought, and our ghost man follows. We arrive at Optic Lens Co. Inc., owned by a Mr. Speck. The gang brings up the receipt and Mr. Speck shows the gang the item that was purchased. Fred proceeds to look through the lens, and it's revealed that this lens basically turns night into day. Fred asks to borrow the item, as both he and Velma are really starting to piece together this mystery. Mr. Speck does allow them to take the lens, and then we cut to the mystery machine, where the gang is on the way back to the construction site. Shaggy must have ESPN or something because he's convinced something isn't right.
ESPN? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Frankie, did she just say
I
ESPN?
did say ESPN because Mean Girls just came out in theaters, okay?
Uh-huh.
I think it was a joke. I hope it was a joke.
It was a joke.
I really also hope it was a joke.
Why? You really think I'm that stupid enough?
You don't want me to answer that question.
No, answer it.
Whoa.
Answer it.
Yes, absolutely. I think you're that stupid enough.
About to throw hands.
I'm sorry. Now everybody knows what it feels like to be called Scrappy Doo.
Hey, I
That's
said at the
not
top
the
of the
same.
episode that I was scrappy because I'm the first one to throw hands, okay?
That is true.
Shaggy is correct that something isn't right because Ebenezer is hanging out on the roof of the van and he drops down onto the windshield, causing Fred to stop the car, where we get another chase scene. Ebenezer zeroes in on Shaggy and Scooby, and he follows them because Shaggy has that really, really expensive day to night or night to day lens. The two manage to hide in a bakery where they try to trick Ebenezer into, I'm not exactly sure what, because they put out a birthday cake and sing happy birthday to him, but the lens is still in plain view, and Ebenezer, after blowing out the candles on his cake, steals the item. I still do not know what they thought they were going to manage in this situation. Frankie, do you have any ideas?
I have no idea what they were trying to do.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. The whole gang then returns to Sam's Pizza to discuss everything that has happened. Velma is reading the nightly newspaper and learns that there was another safe robbery. She also learns that all the robberies take place around the construction site. It's trapping time. The goal is at the construction site. The goal is for Shaggy to get Ebenezer to chase him until someone else can draw quick drying cement on him. This plan does not work because Ebenezer overhears the plan and begins chasing the gang in the opposite direction. Shaggy and Scooby are left alone so they can grab the cement bucket. As this happens, Fred, Daphne, and Velma have somehow managed to be chased by Ebenezer onto a floating steel beam. Ebenezer is also on the beam. I don't know what his plan is because if he cuts the rope trying to kill them, he's gonna die too.
Maybe he's accepted death.
Whatever Ebenezer is trying to do doesn't matter because Shaggy and Scooby are launched onto the beam after flying out of a wheelbarrow that they had tripped and fallen into and had sent it flying across the site. So the force and momentum of them landing on this floating beam causes it to crash into a penthouse apartment. Inside the apartment is Betty, and Velma is flabbergasted. You remember the quick drying cement plan?
Yes.
Well, it's a good thing because Scooby still has that, and it goes flying across the room, magically landing on the feet of both Betty and Ebenezer, thus trapping them. We unmask our villains, and they are both foremen from the construction site.
Wow, I'm so confused.
You are?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. Just ask them. The cops are called, and for once, the cops ask the gang if they have the evidence and can prove a crime has been committed. Fred and Velma show up with receipts, and the villain's plan was to use the special lens from the penthouse apartment to copy down the safe codes and then break into those safes and steal all the cash from the neighboring buildings. They were trying to slow down the work on the construction site because the tall building that's going up would block the view from the penthouse. The cop looks through the telescope that's in the apartment and sees it pointed directly at the safe in the Mahoney Baloney Company, the place that was robbed last night.
Seriously? Mahoney baloney?
That's good.
Mahoney Baloney Company.
That's good.
I assume that they sell baloney and their safe was robbed the night prior.
That's real good.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We still have one loose end. No one has found the stolen money.
It's in the beam that Shaggy keeps riveting.
I wish.
Keep cleaning.
I wish. It's actually in a potted plant. Scooby manages to break the potted plant because he leans on it, so the cash falls out when the tree falls down. We finally reached the end of the episode.
And the end Candace notes.
Pizza. We're back at Sam's Pizza. The police have commissioned a very special pizza for everyone's favorite dog. It's in the shape of a police badge and says honorary police dog. Scooby eats the whole thing, leaving Shaggy with just a single green olive. The end.
Sorry.
Wow. That was High Rise Hair Razor, the series premiere of the Scooby-Doo show.
It sure was.
Mm-hmm.
And what a series premiere it was.
I mean, it was an average, solid episode. It's very formulaic. It was very Scooby-Doo.
But it was good Scooby-Doo.
Yes. You had the creepy criminals. You even had a red herring, if you were me, because I really thought the man who hired Shaggy and Fred was going to be one of the villains.
And he wasn't.
He wasn't.
We have one final episode to talk about. The Spirits of 76.
What is 76?
1776. The Revolutionary War.
Uh-huh.
This
It's
whole
the
episode is a choice.
This whole episode is taking place in 1976, the bicentennial. So the gang are going to Washington, D.C., but they can't do anything outside because they're in a rainstorm.
A
Womp, womp,
rainstorm.
womp.
The rain is raining, the lightning is lightning, the thunder is thundering. So Shaggy suggests they spend the day at the Smithsonian Institute.
I'm sorry. Why
Yeah.
don't they just say the Smithsonian?
I don't know. Because they do name the Lincoln Memorial, but not the Smithsonian. Who knows why? This idea impresses Velma because Shaggy had an idea that does not involve food.
She came for him.
A little bit.
As they get into the museum, they're unknowingly being watched by a ghost who looks like a Revolutionary War soldier.
When I watched this episode, I thought that was supposed to be George Washington.
I did too at first, and then
Okay,
they reveal it's
okay.
not George Washington.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one then.
They reveal it is indeed Benedict Arnold later on.
It makes a
I'm
lot
sorry.
more sense.
Benedict Arnold, like betrayer Benedict Arnold?
Yes.
It does make sense when you get into the grand scheme of things.
So once they get into the museum, they see all these cool exhibits, but there's nobody in the museum.
Uh-huh.
And then a security guard walks up to them with the creepiest shadow in existence and explains that the place is haunted by ghosts. As he leaves, he warns them that it's nearly closing time. Daphne notices that the guard's shoes are squeaky and wet, and Fred tells the others to keep their eyes on him and be on the lookout for any trouble. Shaggy sees a tableau called Traitors of American History with wax dummies of Benedict Arnold, William Demont, and Major Andre. But one of them begins to move as Shaggy's poking it in the nose. As everyone starts to leave, Scooby goes up to one of the dummies and sniffs it, but it shoves Scooby away with his foot.
Fucking rude. Don't kick a dog.
Yeah. So Scooby's scared by this, and he runs to hide under a giant locomotive that the gang examines. And one of the dummies sneaks behind them and turns the locomotive on.
I want to know how they manage this, the villains.
To turn it on?
Like, how do they manage to sneak around the gang and turn on the locomotive? Yes.
They're sneaky. They're ghosts. They're not, but they're very quiet movers.
Apparently.
The locomotive, when it turns on, makes a lot of loud noise that hurts Scooby's head, and it also opens a trap door that Scooby falls through. And he lands in a cotton gin that is turned on, and he starts getting caught in the cotton gin. The gang starts looking for Scooby, and they ask another guard who's very nice to them to help, although he tells them that he hasn't seen the dog and it's nearly closing time. And the dummies are listening to this whole conversation. They can't find Scooby, even in the dinosaur exhibit where they looked, because they know how he feels about bones. And they meet back at the still operational locomotive. The noise is annoying everybody, and Fred finally turns it off. And as they do, they hear Scooby giving out relps underneath the train. They find the trap. They literally say relps. Shaggy says, "I recognize that relp," because he doesn't say help. Because Scooby speaks with the R, right? So
Because he has a speech impediment.
So does that mean that they're mocking Scooby Doo?
That's actually what I was gonna say as well.
no, I think that's how they think that's how he speaks, so they recognize it. So they find the trap door and Scooby tangled in the cotton gin's belt and help him out. The guards assume that the mystery gang has left the movie theater and they time lock the building.
The movie theater?
Oh, why did I say movie theater? The museum.
I was also confused.
Sorry.
Ray, did you watch a different episode that you're not telling us about?
No, it's a museum. I'm just an idiot who wrote movie theater.
They're gonna have a night at the museum.
Yeah, so they lock the museum with a time lock, and it won't open until noon.
What are the Smithsonian's hours?
I don't know.
Like, it feels like they're open 2 hours a day.
the mystery gang go up a couple floors from where the cotton gin is, and they find extra dummies for the wax figures there. But then they realize the other ones aren't dummies; they're ghosts, and the ghost of Benedict Arnold seals them on the floor that they're in. And then Daphne proceeds to explain the entire history of who Benedict Arnold is.
You also forget that she makes a joke about the dummies being in their underwear.
Oh, she does. She says it's improper for them to be in their underwear in front of some ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but she reveals that Benedict Arnold was a traitor who's going to surrender West Point to the British in 1780. And Benedict Arnold got caught, and he's been dead for 200 years.
She said the last part as well.
No, Fred said that he's been dead for 200 years.
I like that Fred has to point that fact out.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the gang is going to assume that this man from the 1780s is alive.
Yeah, they all thought it was actually Benedict Arnold running around.
Be like he's gonna be 200 plus years old.
So
I gotta make sure.
the gang decide to split up to find another way out. Fred, Velma, and Daphne find wet footprints like the ones that the creepy guard left behind, and they follow them to a dead end, but they see one of them goes right through the wall. Then the ghosts of Benedict Arnold and Major Andre appear behind them, so they get chased by them. With Scooby and Shaggy, Scooby's bone radar starts to go off.
He's a bone radar.
He's like senses bones are nearby and he starts fucking shaking and beeping.
What?
He deserves it.
Yeah, he
being
physically
beat up.
He physically shakes and beeps. And he goes to a T-Rex skeleton and starts biting on it. And Shaggy says, Scooby, there's a time and a place to eat, and that's any time at any place, but not this time and not this place.
That one's good. I like
say
that
it
one.
again. Scooby deserves that bone. He was beat up and thrown through a trap door.
Yeah, Scooby thinks this too, by the way.
He deserves the whole T-Rex skeleton.
Scooby thinks he deserves his bone too, because he takes the bone out and it causes the skeleton to collapse on them and reveal their location to William Demont, the other ghost, who starts chasing him. And then Scooby ends up on a unicycle, and then Scooby and Shaggy end up on a tandem bicycle, and then Scooby, Shaggy, and the ghost end up on a three-way bicycle.
This episode is a collection of choices.
And they're riding the bike, and Shaggy realizes that the ghost is on the bike, and he says, "Hurry, Scoob, we gotta go faster to lose the ghost."
A collection of bad choices.
Yeah, that's gonna happen even though they're on the same bike as you.
Yeah, Scooby also questioned it. He looks confused as to how that will happen. They end up crashing, though, and into the other two ghosts. And the other three ghosts run away, and they're with the whole gang is reunited. They go back upstairs and run into the nice guard, who we reveal his name is Mr. Clive. And he informs the gang the museum is closed and it won't open until noon because there's a time lock. They then hear the locomotive start again, and the other creepy guard, whose name is Mr. Grumper.
Because he's grumpy.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Nope, that's his name.
I bet you he's the nicest man ever.
And Mr. Grumper's very angry that he has to, that this train keeps going off on its own. And Mr. Clive explains that it's been turning on by itself, and every time the engineer comes in to fix it, it turns back on. Scooby backs into a wall during this conversation, causing a bear skin to fall onto him. With the bear skin still on, goes over to the train where the engineer, Mr. Willett, is working on it, and Mr. Willett thinks that a real-life grizzly bear has snuck into the museum to eat him.
Of course, because that happens every day.
Yeah, and Velma removes the bear skin, and Willett goes, it's a dog. All right.
Everyone in this episode has one brain cell.
Yeah.
And Velma is holding on to it for dear life.
Willett explains that he sleeps in the museum because he has to fix the train every time it starts and it keeps going off on its own. He leaves, and the gang sees that he leaves wet footprints along with him, even though he said he's been in the museum all night. The gang begins to follow them into the basement, suspicious of Mr. Willett and Mr. Grumper. They search the basement again and find the old cotton gin, which turns on its own once again. Turns on its own once again. As it turns on, they also hear the locomotive start upstairs at the same time, and they realize that the cotton gin and the locomotive start and stop at the same time. Velma inspects the cotton gin and notices that several of its parts have been replaced and are newer than the rest. They follow the new belt of the cotton gin, as well as new wet footprints that they've discovered, to the end of a wall. Scooby flips a hidden switch located on a suit of armor by biting its finger, which allows the wall to turn. The gang end up in a flooded cavern to a concrete wall with a huge hole drilled in it by a machine. On their side of the hole, they discover huge bags filled with money. They walk through the hole, and there are dozens of printing presses, and they realize that they are inside the U.S. Mint, where
They're
somehow,
inside the mint.
yes, they're in the U.S. Mint, where somehow none of the security that works in the U.S. Mint have noticed a giant hole in the wall.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
The math ain't
Um,
math in here.
I'm so confident in our security at the mint.
Yeah, they don't. The ghosts come back hauling bags of money through the U.S. Mint, and so the gang hide behind a printing press. But Shaggy and Scooby are so scared; they're scared, shaking. The noises that they make from shaking give their position away. They run through the museum and jump in these antique steam run cars
Of course they do.
to get away. So Fred, Velma, and Daphne are in one car, Shaggy and Scooby are in another car, and the three ghosts are in a third car. They realize that the brakes.
And hijinks ensue.
Yeah, well, Fred realizes that the brakes don't work on the car, so they run into an antique cannon, destroying the cannon, by the way. And the cannon ends up hitting Shaggy and Scooby's car, destroying that car, and Scooby ends up flying out of the car into the Wright brothers airplane, which is hanging from the roof, the ceiling.
Destroying that airplane.
Not yet. Shaggy goes up to a little exhibit that is Washington on the Delaware, and he grabs a piece of ice from that, what he thinks is a piece of ice, and he throws it at the ghost's car. But it turns out to just be a giant piece of a cube of glass, not ice. But the glass shatters and destroys the tires of the ghost's car. So as that car stops moving, the wires that are holding up the Wright brothers plane that Scooby is in falls apart, and the plane begins to fly, and Scooby is somehow flying the plane without a pilot's license. That was Daphne's concern, that Scooby was flying it without a pilot's license.
Not that he was flying it inside a building.
No, her concern was the lack of licensing going on here.
She doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, she would have reported this to OSHA, I think.
You think?
This is why the gang needs jobs. They're not draft dodgers. They just need to repay for everything they damaged at the Smithsonian.
Yeah, so the plane is then destroyed by crashing into the ghost car, trapping all of the ghosts. They unmask the ghost of Major Andre, who's just some dude. We haven't seen him at all in the entire episode. It's just some guy. Then they unmask the ghost of William Demont, who is the engineer, Mr. Willett. And then Shaggy turns to the ghost of Benedict Arnold and says, I know who it is. It's grumpy old Grumper. The jig is up.
It's
And
not,
they
though.
unmask him, and it's not. It's Mr. Clive, the nice guard.
Poor Mr. Grumper got a bad rap.
He did.
He's
So
only grumpy because he got demoted. He used to work at the White House, and now he's doing the night shift at the museum.
not even the Smithsonian, just the fucking Splitsonian.
Ain't nothing come alive here at night.
So a government agent, which is literally just what they call them, shows up to arrest the three. And Daphne, very excited, she goes, wow, a real government agent. The gang explains that the three men put the real wax dummies in the basement, put on the costumes, and posed as them when the honest guards would make their rounds at night, making them think the museum was empty. During the day, they would cover themselves in phosphorus so that they glowed to haunt it, making them seem like there were ghosts, so that no one would be inside during the day or at night, and they could work the drill into the U.S. Mint. They used the cotton gin to power the drill, and the locomotive was used to cover the noise of the drill so no one would notice. Mr. Willett confessed that he stumbled on the old plans of the abandoned storm drain running to the Mint in some dusty old files and devised a scheme to rob the Mint. Mr. Grumper reveals that his feet were always wet because he had to mop up the wet footprints and puddles those Goonies always made. That's what he calls them.
Sir, that's not in your job description.
Yeah, he's a guard, not the janitor.
He is not the
or
janitorial
custodial
staff.
staff.
It's very nice
He
of
was
him
trying
to
to,
lend
yeah,
a
he was
hand,
trying to get a raise.
but
Maybe.
he's trying to get back to the White House.
Shaggy takes one of the bills and asks the agent if good old Uncle Sam would be willing to give them the money, like what, just one $100 bill, because this $100 bill could buy them 200 hamburgers.
Not repay for all the damages they caused.
Yeah, no. The agent explains that the ghosts' efforts were actually in vain. The money that they had was worthless because there are no watermarks or serial numbers on them yet. So Scooby, taking this news to heart, eats the bill and
Why?
begins to laugh. I have no idea why he ate the bill.
Because he's got an iron stomach.
He's a growing baby. He's just hungry.
He is just hungry. So that's Scooby-Doo, the Scooby-Doo show.
And that episode has to be the worst one.
I thought it was so fucking weird.
Because I was watching more of them, and there's so many more iconic, better ones.
Yeah, but I'm glad I picked this one.
I'm glad I didn't have to cover it.
I should have made you cover it.
That who they thought was the person wasn't the person.
Yeah.
So
They had a red herring.
they did.
Yeah, Mr. Grumper.
Grumper.
What a bad name. I would have changed my name.
Is it worse than Ebenezer Crabbe?
No, I don't think so. I think Ebenezer Crabbe is worse, but that's just like, I think
On
Crabbe
principle.
could have been fine as a last name if his parents didn't name him Ebenezer.
Well, remember, he was born in the Regency era.
They had other names.
They did have other.
It wasn't like
The olden days.
every
Olden
guy back
days.
then wasn't named Ebenezer. That'd be awfully confusing.
They gave him a unique name then.
Yeah, you think they named him after the character
Yes.
from the book? They read his
No, because
parents
that
read
didn't
that.
go out till the Victorian era. You got a few decades,
Maybe they're psychics. His parents.
maybe.
He had a book.
Maybe.
He did have a book called Black Magic Spells and Other Neat Weird Stuff. So
That is true. Very, very true.
I will say your episode, Hannah, I did like a lot more.
Oh, yes.
It had some very iconic lines, like Velma telling Shaggy, "This isn't the time to get scared," and Shaggy saying, "Any time is a good time to get scared," and then Velma saying, "You can't just sit here while I go search the house," and Shaggy responding with, "We won't just sit here, Velma. We're going to hide."
Mood.
But
It's
I also like the line that he said in my episode. Shaggy is real great in this series.
He is.
He gets some fucking bangers of some lines. Like when he said in mine, "There's a time and a place to eat food. That is any time and any place, but not this time and not this place."
Then it's not any time and any place there, Shaggy.
I think he's a great human being. I love Shaggy. So we have our little list. We only have 3 things in it, obviously, but 3 now. Do we think the Scooby-Doo show is better than the new Scooby-Doo movies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, consensus. Do we think it's better than Scooby-Doo Where Are You?
No.
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 All right. So it will be second.
It is perfectly in the middle.
It is such a vast improvement though from Scooby-Doo, the new Scooby-Doo movies.
Scooby-Doo is meant to be 2 acts, and that's it.
Yeah. That's it for the Scooby-Doo show. We're done talking about it forever. No one will ever bring it up again.
No, I'll bring it up again.
Will you? On an episode or just like in life?
Probably both.
Okay. That's fair.
I want to talk about the game.
Well, that is our next episode of Scooby-Doo in review.
Because I love the games. The
We're gonna
really
be
ones are my absolute favorite. I
Our
love the really ones.
our next episode is about the Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics.
I love Laugh Olympics.
Amanda, you're covering the first episode, which is
Uh,
Switzerland and Japan.
Okay.
I will be covering the other episode, which is Quebec, Canada, and Baghdad, Iraq.
Can I just tell you that there is one cartoon dog that is better than Scooby-Doo? And
That's
you know who that cartoon dog is?
It's the dog from Wacky Races, isn't it?
It's Muttley. I love
Courage.
Muttley.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Muttley is the best freaking cartoon dog in existence.
That title is held by Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo alone.
No, Muttley.
Oh my god. Can we end now, please? Before this becomes a full-fledged flat fight.
Yeah, we're gonna end. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's over. Let's take care of business. Remember to follow us wherever you are listening to this podcast. Date of recording, we are only on Spotify, but we will be on other places moving forward. So follow us or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Remember to leave us a review. Remember to share this with your friends, share it with your family, share it with anyone you think would enjoy listening to three idiots talk about whatever we feel like.
We are three friends with PhDs in bullshit.
Yeah, that's way better than what I said.
Mhm.
I was trying to remember what you put in the description and I just could not.
That's our tagline. Three friends with PhDs in bullshit.
If you would like to leave a comment on any of our episodes, if you'd like to ask any of us a question, if you would like to give us an idea for an episode, you can send that to us at our email, which is
Nothing to see here podcast at gmail.com. As always, here is spelled HEAR.
if you would like to see some fun memes that were made by Hannah, some fantastic artwork made by Amanda, you can see that at our Instagram page, which is
Nothing to see here pod.
both of those are also in the description of the episode, so don't worry about that. That is all the business we have to take care of. Hannah, would you like to give a preview for next week's episode, which is
Ooh.
yours?
Yeah. I was trying to think of one earlier. All I can really say is I had a terrifying experience I want to share with y'all.
All right, we're gonna get a horrifying, terrifying experience from Hannah. I'm excited about that. So, saying goodbye, it is Frankie.
It's Hannah.
And I'm apparently Scrappy Doo.
What does Scrappy Doo say? Scrappy Doo? Does he have like a catchphrase?
I don't know if he says anything.
He has a catchphrase.
He
What's
says
his
puppy
catchphrase?
power.
Say it, yeah. Say it all
Say it
excited.
like you mean it.
Say it, Amanda.
Puppy power.